Hello and welcome to the Cutie Art Crusaders, episode 99 for May 27th, 2014. This is it, guys. 6 out of 6. We are on our last main 6 episode. My name is Rainbow Plasma. I'm the organizer and host this week for the podcast, and today I'm joined by
Burndle1, the special guest coordinator, and this week the editor.
I'm PhotoGuy317, and I'm the media manager for the podcast.
I'm Atlas Spark. I do the DeviantArt and the Gmail account.
Yay, and the questions.
the questions.
Oh, the questions.
Yeah.
I knew those.
kind
You
of
were
the
missing
most important part of it because it's actually on the podcast. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Man.
Well, this is episode 99, which is the episode before 100. In case we have people who can't count, no judging.
Yep.
So this is. Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Just wow.
Such wow.
So wow. Damn it.
Wow, so arts. Many
Man, I can't believe that, next week is our 100th episode. So I guess we'll talk about that first. So next week is our 100th episode. It's crazy. We've been doing this for 100 weeks, basically.
No, exactly.
Yeah, exactly 100 weeks.
weeks.
Yeah.
Well, more if you count the previous.
Yeah.
That's true.
It is true.
But we don't.
Yeah. So, for our 100th episode, in case you have been living under a rock for the past, 6 weeks or so, we're doing something super extra special. We're going to show a bunch of fan art up there that, has been made since our last fan art episode, and we're going to be reading and listening to stuff that you guys sent in, which is basically answering 2 questions. What have you learned from the podcast, and what have you enjoyed about the podcast? Because we like to be entertaining and educational, so... Yeah.
And you got 2 days from now.
Entertainal.
Edutainment.
That's much better.
Yeah.
That was a better thing.
So, I don't know. I'm pumped for this. Because, I haven't actually...
Yep.
I haven't looked through many of the things that you guys have sent in, because I kind of want to be surprised for the 100th episode. But I'm really looking forward to it.
We've got a bunch.
I haven't seen any of them.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid that the episode's going to be 2 hours long.
I know. We might have to split it, but you never know.
Nah. If
Episode
there's
100
if there's
A&B.
way too many, then we might pick and choose. But Yeah.
So, speaking of things in the future, after this episode, we're going to do a season recap spoiler cast.
But that's in the past.
So,
But that's in the past.
yeah, no.
We're
Our
gonna do
spoiler
we're gonna
cast
do
is not in the past. Our spoiler
Yes.
cast is in the future, but the season was in the past.
future. Yes.
Yeah. So basically, like we mentioned last week, we're going to do just a kind of recap of season 4, the whole thing, kind of go through what our thoughts were, what we liked about it, what we didn't like about it, etc., etc. So stay tuned for that after this episode.
Yeah. I'll say you're sick, but we'll skim over that. this
Yeah, I
time.
know. I'm not really feeling that great, but Oh, well.
You sound fine, so that's something.
Thanks.
What's this
enough
about
for the
Crazy Rain?
podcast.
She's not that crazy.
Nice
good
transition.
transition.
Do you want to introduce her then, Jolie
I
Pants?
guess I could do it. So, sitting right next to me here is Silver Rain Clouds. She's joining us today.
Hi guys.
Why is she Jolie?
Why is she joling us?
Why is she joining us?
Someone else just take over. I'm just gonna sit here.
She is joining us for our theme this week.
Which is Rarity.
Rarity.
Or rah.
That's
Yeah.
Pony.
Yes, she is our special guest this week, as we've been doing the last 6 weeks, where we've been inviting fans on, and yeah. Hi.
Hi.
So, Silver, you've been on the podcast before,
Not really.
or the spoiler
Once.
cast once, yeah.
Yeah.
But for those of you or for those people in our audience who don't know who you are or how you know about us, would you like to explain to them how you've been probably our longest fan / mentor / et cetera, et cetera?
Can you accurately describe how awesome you are?
Yeah.
Does this story start where I introduced Flutter Guy and Rainbow Plasma to each other?
Yeah. I think so.
We talked before you introduced us.
This
Not
is
really.
true.
Yeah.
You talked about vectors
On
a little
Reddit.
bit, and then
It's true.
Yeah.
you guys told this story from a different perspective, where you guys all kind of got together on the vector subreddit, which I am now the sole mod of, and you learned how to do vectors, and you met each other, and you met me, and Burn and Atmospark here taught me how to do vectors a little bit, and I kind of turned that to helping Rainbow Plasma and Floater Guy, and then we all ended up getting together, and then you guys started the other podcast that didn't last very long because you got picked up by Everfree, and then you're doing this, and I have just been sitting here watching the whole time.
It's true.
But you've been doing a lot of vectoring, and they're awesome and stuff like that, so...
Yeah.
And by sitting, you mean you've been interacting with us on a constant basis through Skype and through lots of other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Plus
what
drawing us
she
a lot of
means
stuff
by the
for our
fact that she
shows.
introduced...
Yeah.
What she means by introduced Flutter Guy and I is that when we looked back, in order to become like an admin at the MLP Vector Club back in the day, you got recommended by someone, and we realized that both of us were recommended by Silver here, who had said, we should make these people admins. And so indirectly, she was kind of the first, the first kind of stepping stone towards the podcast actually being made. Because without Flutter Guy and I, there is no podcast because we needed the four of us.
I don't know.
So,
Burn
yeah.
and I did it right.
The PK Dash and Burn show. We even have fan art of us as horses because of it. Come on.
It is true, yeah.
Emphasis on the horses.
But I'd like to think that Silver is kind of the catalyst, if you will,
The
for
forefather.
this podcast. Yeah.
Well, it's also...
The forerunner.
she was also like the only other person in our Skype chat when it was us doing the podcast.
Right.
So
Yeah.
she'd sit while we were in a call doing the first podcasts.
And then
Yeah,
I would
actually-
be quiet, we're doing the podcast, don't send us anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, the first people that I interacted with in the community was actually Burned and Silver. Because I submitted a vector to the MLP Vectors subreddit, and they both responded and critiqued it a bit and stuff, so...
Mine was burned.
I know
Aw.
you guys were sweethearts for a while.
Yeah, we were. The good old days of competition.
Right? Where
Wow,
Photoshop
Bird,
Master
are you
Race.
saying that no one can compete with you?
They had this competition. They would argue with each other over who got to critique things first because they were both so into it, but in different time zones. So if it happened in the middle of the night, it was Atmospark. If it happened during the day, it was Burn, and they would always argue about it.
Yeah.
Our schedules overlapped, so it was like if he was at work or not. If he was at work, I could get to them first. And then if I was at work, then he could get to them first. It was like his days off because I worked weekends at the time. So like at one point I was actually like on my computer at work, like on DeviantArt, like critiquing stuff before he could get to it.
Good times.
Welcome
I
welcome to the cutie nostalgia grumps.
Yeah.
Or grumps. Wow.
I could
Grumps?
just see...
Okay. Can I not talk for the rest of today? I'm just gonna sit
Sure,
here.
just sit there and look
Just-
pretty. Atmo, I could imagine you like at a computer, like about to go critique something, and you click on it, and like Burns right in the middle, frantically you're typing something, and you refresh the page, and all of a sudden there's critique up there, and you're like, no.
That happened more
I
than
was
once.
just writing mine. I think that's happened to all of us. We're writing like a really like nice critique we're proud of, and like making links, making it look all pretty, like making PNGs, and then you go to post it, and then someone's beat you to it,
Yeah.
and you're just like, nah. Then you look at his critique and critique that one to make yours better.
Bro,
I've
make your
done that.
critique
I've
better.
done that before. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
So anyhow, getting out of the past and into the present, even though
To the future.
even though it is awesome to reminisce about, stuff. We are talking about Rarity today, the last of the main 6 ponies. Don't ask us about the order because it's a secret, etc., etc.
This one, no, this one isn't a secret.
Well, no.
This one was specifically planned. All the other ones were kind of random.
Yeah.
But this one was specifically because we wanted to have Silver on as the last guest because of the whole nostalgia, first person kind of thing.
I
Yeah.
thought it was because I was moving.
That too.
That too.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
But I mean, you've been there for a couple weeks, so
Yeah.
it's not like we could have done any of these weeks. But I kind of made the executive decision. I was like, I'll put her last.
So,
Save the best for last.
yep.
Yay!
So our first piece is called The Sweet and Elite Pony by Adlin, who I think we've featured on the show before.
Yes,
This
I
one
love
has the
particular
distinct
piece.
honor of being the only piece in my butts folder that we featured as well.
You are going to be so happy about that for the rest of your life.
Yup. I have reached my goal. We have officially had crossover between the Cutie Art Crusader and my Butts folder, which I thought would never happen. So I approve.
So, like all of the other main 6 episodes, we're going to hand this one right over to Silver to tell us what she thinks about this piece.
It's shiny.
Yay!
No, it is. It's really shiny. Like, I don't know. I really like the way the highlights are done on this, and I like that they're contrasting yellow to the ever so slightly blue-gray body and purple of her hair. And I really like when artists put her hair up. I like seeing Rarity's hair done up because she's the one who would do up her hair. So it's always really nice to see the way that they do it. It's also really hard to draw Rarity's hair, so I always appreciate when it's done well.
Yeah. I'm surprised that Rarity in the show doesn't have like more hairstyles because like I know that she's like found the perfect one for herself, but you'd think that she would experiment a bit more.
Maybe that's a future episode.
Ooh. Wait, are we spoiling us in season 5 now? That's
Rarity
future.
hairstyles episode. 2 years ago, I would have thought that's the lamest sounding crap ever. Now I'm like, I need to see
I
this.
know, right? Like, maybe, what if, like, another pony has her hairstyle and she sees it and she's like, oh,
I can't have that
can't
anymore.
do that. No.
What
if
if
they
one day
permanently
she
change her
chooses
hairstyle?
green hair?
It would go crazy.
So, yeah, like Silver, I really like how the highlights are done in this piece. And I like especially just one highlight in particular on the back of her mane, because it's the only highlight where there is a thin line in between it and the background. All of the other highlights are basically right on the edge of her mane. And I'd like to think that that line there is an intentional line to kind of separate it from the background a bit. Give it a little bit more contrast.
That makes sense.
I might be
I suppose
completely
it-
off base,
yeah.
but you know.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say the artist like planned out this piece and was like, and then in the back of the hair,
Yeah.
we shall add the line outside of the highlight.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that it was one of those things that kind of naturally just happened along the way, and it was like, yeah, that looks better.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
It's also interesting because there's highlights like on the front of Rarity's hooves and stuff, and there's also like little bits of highlights on the back of her hooves. I don't know. I really like how Adlin has kind of done the shading and the lighting in this piece, because there is some like lighting in the shading. Like if you look at the back of Rarity's front hooves, there's a little strip of lighting in there just to kind of give it a bit more of a 3D / textury feel to it. But yeah, I don't know. I like it. It's like Silver said, very shiny.
Yeah, yeah. Silver, do you remember that one pose of Rarity's where it looks really awkward because it looks like her arm is behind her shoulder in some weird way?
The poses, the puppet for that one isn't very good. She does that in Sweet and Elite.
Yeah, yeah. I this reminds me of that a little bit, but with a little bit more actual anatomy works.
Yeah, where she's like standing really tall. It's a very popular like for wallpapers and shirts and stuff.
Yeah,
I like her
Yeah,
back
and,
like
looking
she's
over her
shiny,
shoulder.
like she's still wet from getting out of the pool.
Yeah.
That's a very nice. little-
Yeah.
Damn it, I was just gonna say that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I do like how Adlin has portrayed water in this piece, because it's not like just kind of clear like you would normally see pool water. There's kind of a bit of a ripple to it and reflection. I don't know. I like it, and also how he portrayed her mojito, because mojitos are awesome.
A pony hito, if you will.
Ponihito.
Ponito.
There you go.
Ponyto. It's a ponyto.
And horses don't have feet.
They have feet. They just have
In my
only one toe.
dreams.
True.
Uh-huh.
Ew. Now I'm
big
imagining ponies with like toes for legs. And it's grossing me out.
Lyra approves. I just picture this awesome, like, I just picture Lyra just like super happy, like wiggling like all 4 of her feet, like toes in them.
But she
like,
wouldn't, because she wants hands, not feet. She'd
Toe
be like,
legs.
damn it, so
close
close.
enough. I'm sure she'd be more than happy to take what she's given.
With thumbs instead of legs now.
Maybe the front legs are thumbs and the back. This is awful. This is just resoundingly awful in every way.
So I'm gonna try and focus this back on the art piece then.
Yeah, go for it.
I really like that Adlin has also put a texture on this piece, which kind of makes it feel almost like an acrylic piece to me.
Almost, yeah. It looks
kind-
almost like a canvas in the background.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you really have to zoom in. I was like, what are you talking about? And then I zoomed
Yeah,
in.
you have to zoom into the full resolution of the piece, but there is kind of this bumpy texture to the background, and that plus the use of like the colors and stuff that he's chosen. I don't know. To me, it gives it an acrylic feel. It could also be like a painting
Acrylic
kind of
feel.
feel. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, not to argue digital mediums what they look like, but it actually looks a little bit more like colored pencils to me. I guess, kind of specifically in the blending of like the grass right below the bush, kind of like over the arch of her back and in front of her. It looks a little like colored pencils. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But
I could totally see that. Yeah.
anyway. I was gonna say my favorite artsy thing about this piece that I'd like to, I guess, throw in there is how Adlin did the how did you word that? I guess it's not shading. I guess her entire body, we'll just say that, like the white of her body, because it's not exactly white. There's a lot of white in there, but there's a lot of blues, as Silver mentioned, and he plays with all these like blending from white to blue. So like you can see it like on the top arch of her back, there's like some blue starts appearing in there, and like on the bottom of her chin, and like areas in her ear, the shadow created by her sunglasses next to her eye, and it's just like subtle bits of blue start like showing through like the I don't know, her white, if you will. So she's not a pure white, she is kind of like a dulled blue. But Adlin plays with that to show like roundness and like areas of her body and stuff to give like a more of a 3D sense, but not actually like doing 3D shading. He's letting the blue do all the work, if that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
And I really, really enjoy that. I way prefer like handling like a 3D or like shading with like that like use of blue rather than actually doing like a hard gradient or a hard shadow or like a soft whatever on something, you know?
Yeah. It is interesting because he does have this hard shading with her shadow and like the shading on her, but I didn't really pick up on the blue the first time just because I guess looking at it looks so natural. But it is
I think that's a good keyword too.
Yeah, it is very like soft and like you have to look to be able to see it, but I really like how it's done. It's if you look at like her flank area, you can see the blue kind of surrounding it to give it a 3D feel.
It does give her a luscious butt.
Whoa, now
I'm gonna cut that out so hard.
Just bleep it so it sounds even better. So I also enjoy the fact that, like, more so than in other pieces, everything around her is not detailed because she's supposed to be the center of attention in this piece, like by far. So like the water is kind of detailed, but for the most part, if you look in the background, like the trees and the plants and the grass and the hedges, it's all like very vague because you're not really supposed to look at it. You're supposed to look at the pretty pony in the middle. So you know.
Yeah, but that
cool.
being said, the background is also very well done for being undetailed.
Yeah.
Just because like the grass is, a bunch of different strokes of different colors, and it kind of blends together so that it looks like grass, and plus the texture of the piece, I don't know, gives it a nice
I think
look.
sometimes people make the mistake of associating detail with quality, and it's how you do it, not what you do.
Yep, definitely.
There's a better phrase to summarize that, but I don't care.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's fine.
Yeah. I really like also the sunglasses, just for some reason. I don't know. I like the shading that or how Adlin did the lenses, because it kind of looks realistic. I don't know. Sunglasses, I feel, or like glass or anything like that is tough because you have refractive lighting and stuff to deal with, but you can kind of see through to the background. You can kind of see through to Rarity's eye, and it just looks natural again.
Yeah, the semi-transparentness is good.
How do they stay on her face?
I was gonna say that same thing.
That's a good question.
That's the paradox of pony glasses, though, because it would look awful if they actually went above the ear. So I like to think that they're just firm enough to like hug the side of like a pony's face, you know what I mean? And like those little like loops back there kind of go behind their jaw, you know, so
It
they
does,
kind of just
'cause
hug on there. But
if you have the toys, some of the toys come with sunglasses and they actually stay on the pony's face. I don't know.
They clip on. I can't imagine they're comfortable though. They do clip on pretty hard.
It's-
I don't know, man. Have you seen how some people wear their glasses? They're basically held on by squeezing their face.
yeah, it's true.
Well, what about those people that wear them backwards?
Last little artsy bit that I wanted to add on is that the overall color tone of everything is extremely warm, with maybe the exception of the shadow caused by the bushes. But I mean, warm light causes cool shadows. Fun stuff. That was just something we didn't really touch on, where like she does look like she's in a very tropical place, and it does look extremely warm, and it's really caused by this extremely like warm colored palette, which is I don't know, done really well yet again.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, so we're going to move on to our second piece, which is called Rarity's Search - Commission. I guess I don't really need to say the commission part. By AJVL, otherwise known as Aaron JVL, who we featured many times in the past. Not in the recent past, but a while ago. But Silver, once again, why don't you take it away? Tell us what you feel about this piece.
It's really interesting the way it draws your eyes around it. It's very because the mountain in the background is very bright, but also very far in the background, and it's also whiter than Rarity herself, who's kind of like a muted lavender color, and like it's like competing between wanting you to look at those two things, which draws your eyes around the piece, and I really like that. I think it's really cool.
Yeah. It's interesting the contrast between this piece and last piece, where this piece uses lavender to shade Rarity, whereas the last one used that blue. It's, I don't know, it's a different coloring style, and I guess it all depends on what the surroundings are.
I'm
the
surprised
last
it's not
piece-
oil painting. Looking at it, it's actually digital. I'm surprised to see that.
God, this would be beautiful if it was oil.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in our last piece, the overall tone, as I mentioned right before we ended, was warm. So, like, in this piece, the entire tone of it's really cool. So now she's being, you know, shaded in, like, warm colors, where in other one, she had, like, blues on, kind of, like, in the depths, or if you know what I mean? Like, underneath her white. So in this one, now it's using a little bit more warm color. And it's also, Rarity, if you look at her, looks really warm. But I wouldn't say it's specifically because of her color, because if we had just her, like, color palette and, like, cut out all of the cool stuff around it, it might look like neither, like cool or warm. It might look cool, you don't know. But her color as lavender looks really warm because she's surrounded by so much cool, icy blue of everything around her, like this mountainscape. So it's because that there's so much cool stuff around her that it causes like her contrasting lavender color, which is like the only other introduction of color at all in this piece, because everything else is blue, makes it look warm, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting, though, because she is kind of that contrasting color, but she doesn't stick out, like, in a bad way. And she definitely does contrast against the background, so you can kind of pick her out, and she is kind of a focus of the piece. But it's not, like, glaring that she's, you know, there. Like, I know some pieces will kind of use the whole cool and warm contrast and, like, really throw you for a loop that, you know, there's this big contrast there, but
Yeah.
I think the choice of the lavender purple is really good, because it is kind of it could be a cool color if it was surrounded by warmer colors, but yeah.
To emphasize that,
Aaron-
there's another one here by AJVL, True Cloudsdale, which is one that we featured before, which does exactly that. It's all cool colors, and then Fluttershy really stands out because she's warm colors.
Yeah, Aaron JVL's really, what's the word? I guess guilty of using the like cool versus warm colors. He really loves using cool and warm. There's another one we featured before. I think it's Derpy Wisp by Aaron JVL, and it's the same kind of concept of cool versus warm, like the entire piece. He really loves that
The
concept.
dude writes the book on Blorange.
It is true.
That's true.
He is a Blorange master.
Yeah. He definitely knows his colors very well. And also, I love his use of atmospheric perspective in this piece and in basically a bunch of his other pieces that he's done. In this
Very
piece,
significant in his work, yeah.
yeah, there's just this big cloud of smoke and fog and stuff like that right before the mountain and into the distance. And you can kind of see through it. There's the river running off to the left, which I didn't even notice until just now because I'm looking closer in depth at it and stuff. I don't know. It's really cool. I love the use of atmospheric perspective in pieces like this.
I keep
And that's
telling you,
specifically
it's
what tells us
atmospheric.
it's far too.
Atmospheric.
That's exactly what tells us that it's far away. There's not really much else to tell us that it physically is far, or there wouldn't be if it wasn't there, you know? So like having that mist just over like the second ridge there, and then the clouds in front of the mountain are what visually tell us like that mountain's far away. Like if you take away the clouds and just have like just mist or something, like it would seem odd, because you would have this giant mountain just kind of sitting in the middle of your picture with like nothing to tell us, hey, that's far. But as soon as you put clouds there and, you know, atmosphere like in the way, instantly we see that as, okay, yeah, that's really far.
Yeah.
At least if you're used to
Rarity is
sending
just
mountains.
huge.
Yeah.
Rarity's just gigantic.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the more that I look at this piece, the more like that kind of stands out. And I like that about a piece like this, or Aaron J. Vidal does this kind of quite a lot in using different techniques and colors and atmospheric perspective and depth of focus and stuff like that. But it's just like these little details, like I mentioned, the river in the background, or just like the fog coming off of the mountain on the left side. You know, it's just these little things that really add to the piece.
Also, AJVL, hey, why you make these so small? I can't look at anything bigger than this. This is the maximum size of it coming in.
Yep. All of his stuff is pretty small, actually.
Yeah.
Recently.
Well,
not
yeah.
only recently.
Eh.
The
It's-
deco
I don't
was
know.
big.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of dependent on the situation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why some are big and some are small. I don't know enough about doing arts to know about resolution sizes and stuff like that. All I know is aspect ratios
Yeah.
and why you should make specific ones.
Burned, is there a specific focal point in this piece? Because to me, it seems like it's more of a landscape piece, and Rarity's kind of included in it as part of the landscape. So
Even landscape pieces have focuses, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's created by said landscape. So normally when like creating a landscape, how an artist will create focus or where they want your eye to travel is how that artist creates the landscape, the hills, and the mountains and stuff. So like the big things competing for focus, like Silver mentioned, are Rarity and the mountain, because like those are two big things we'll look at. And that's caused by, I mean, a little bit of a word that you really like, framing. It's probably the wrong term here, but it's created by how like these hills that she's standing on and hills in the background are kind of rounded, creating this like U shape. So what that does is it brings your eye like downwards to the bottom of like the hill, and then since it kind of repeats and goes backwards, it brings your eye towards the center. Because you'll always see one of those hills and you'll follow it downwards, like inwards. Like they bring like all those little hills and everything around it brings your eye inwards.
Yeah.
It's the same thing for any kind of like traditional classical landscape, where there's this really cool concept I learned in art history. I forget the name of it. Gosh, it's a traditional thing that they would do in classic landscape artwork is there was this concept of imitation and invention. And what that means is artists would go out and they'll imitate landscapes, and they'll like make sketches of mountains or hills or whatever they want to imitate to look at nature. But there was a huge period in time where artists thought like nature was gross, disgusting, and like messy, chaotic. And so you would never paint that. So what they did is they would imitate, make their sketches, and then they would invent their own landscape and make it beautiful and make it perfect, because like that's why humans were put on this earth, to make everything beautiful and sculpt things. So like that was the concept in our history that lived for like a long time. And so that's what like landscape artists would hold true in their kind of tradition of making like a beautiful art piece or landscape painting, or in this example, like the piece like this, is they'll create your focus by inventing their own perfect landscape, because like we probably wouldn't see a landscape this perfectly set up, if that makes sense, with all these valleys repeating and like bending in perfectly in like the center of an image, and then having a mountain slightly off in the 1/3 area of the picture, and then Rarity slightly off towards the other 1/3 area of the picture, creating this like perfectly photogenic, like laid out landscape, if you will. So like your view still being like targeted somewhere, but through different means that we normally see on the show, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely well thought out, and the whole composition and the framing and all those different aspects of it. So it's not something you would normally see in nature, but it's like it's got all of the different components of nature in it, but just laid out in a different way, which is really cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. All right, so we are going to move on to our next piece, which is called Diamonds Are a Mayor's Best Friend by Meow Meow, who have featured a lot on this show. And once again, Silver, why don't you take it away?
I don't know what to think of this one. I don't know. I like that it's really messy. Like, as a vector artist, I'm one of those people who looks for all of my lines to be nice and straight and perfect and all of everything the right proportions and size, but this is so... It's still got that messy, sketchy undertone to it, and I really like that. I also like the really warm purple in the background. I think it frames all of the blue very well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it really helps Rarity stand out as a warm color, because we have this cold blue at the bottom, and then we have the warmer purples at the top, and then there's kind of that like pinky reddy purpley color that's like really putting it over the top and saying, nope, up here, this area right here,
Yeah.
this is warm.
Yeah, purple and violet are really those colors that they're dependent on what other colors are around them. So they can be either or, like purples and violets can kind of be either cool or warm. And in this case, they're kind of pushed towards the warm side because they're so much like icy blue.
Mm-hmm. I really like the color combination he used for the icy blue diamonds too, and it's a lot of these like messy lines, like Silver was saying, of just like, I mean, there's kind of a base color, but then there's these messy splotches of this darker blue or this white. I really like how that is done.
I like the fact that,
I mean,
if she wasn't holding a diamond, you wouldn't think that they were diamonds. You would think it was ice. Well, me personally would think it was ice. But the fact that she's holding a diamond makes you think, okay, she's sitting on a giant pile of diamonds. And to me, it doesn't feel as cold as it was, and as it would if she wasn't holding that diamond. Because to me, it feels warm-ish because it's a diamond, and diamonds are warm. In my
yeah, I would agree with that. The pile is so indiscriminate. Like if you look at all the lines underneath it, and if you ignore like all the lighting that's giving it kind of shape, it's literally like a bunch of squiggles.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Like it's just so indiscriminate. And then there's a couple of like brushes of highlights that give some form of shape, and the only other shape that we have is in her hand. It's like she went through this pile of diamonds and was like, I'm gonna find the perfect one.
Something that I really quite like about this one is it leads itself to make you think that there is more of it. If you're looking at the Rarity herself holding a diamond, it looks like the picture extends beyond the bottom of the picture. Like, I just had to scroll up so the bottom of the picture wasn't touching the bottom of my screen because I wanted to make sure there wasn't more of it. It looks like there should be more.
Just keeps going.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just this giant pile of diamonds. It's diamonds all the way down.
And they're so
Rarity would be in heaven.
luminescent. So luminescent, so bright. Even
Look
the
at you
one
using
she's
your
holding
big
turns
words.
the background purple. It turns it like bluish purple against the warm.
It's where the light's coming from in this. Well, on her tail and
Yeah.
on the underside of her.
They are physically giving off light, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the background is like it's taking the colors, and it's just like the colors from the foreground are just melting into the background.
Mm-hmm.
So is it?
Go
It
ahead.
gives it it gives me an icy feel, like, doesn't it? You know, because you know how when you have like a lot of ice, or especially like dry ice or something, they kind of like give off coldness or like whatever. Like when you have something really cold and then you take it out of a freezer, it will like cold stuff will like come off of it, like that haze or whatever. And the blue like bleeding into the purples and violets like around everything, it gives it another cold feeling to me. You know.
That would not. To me, it feels warm because of the diamond, like I mentioned earlier. But if she was holding an ice cube, then it would feel cold to me.
I have no idea where you've made this association between diamonds and warmth.
What? Is there some kind of basis behind diamonds are warm? Like, can you elaborate on that?
It's the De
I don't
Beers
know. To me, it just
Corporation.
feels warm. Like,
Because I feel like
look at
any
this
kind
and
of
I
stoner
can-
gym doesn't have a heat signature, you know?
I know, but like I get the difference between warm and cold colors. Like I do know when a color is cold, but to me, this whole piece
Right.
feels warm.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
That's
Maybe
strange.
it's the
It's
concept
interesting
that
to see
you're
how you
in
have it.
Australia and then we're up here.
Everything's upside down. The world is backwards.
Maybe it's because they're considered like shiny and like like light is usually considered warm, and diamonds are very shiny and sunshiny. You know, maybe that's what maybe that's the association he's trying to draw.
No, it is an interesting concept because, like, technically cool and warm, like, there is a lot of subjectivity about it. So, like, it's totally possible that he can see, like, this, like, Joel, or Atmo can see this piece and think of it as, like, warm and see colors that he associates as warm colors. Because different people in different cultures will also associate different colors with different temperatures, if that makes sense. So,
Yeah.
like, I was kind of poking fun at, like, oh, he's in Australia, things are upside down. But the concept that he is actually from a different continent, a different country, he may also see, like, colors as different temperatures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And diamonds inherently aren't warm or cold. You know, ice is inherently cold, so anybody who looks at ice and goes, "Wow, I think that's really warm," it's a bit strange. But like diamonds it's up to interpretation. Our context, we look at it and we go, "Oh, that's ice, therefore it looks cold." But to someone else, it could be something completely different, and it's much more subjective than, say, a pile of ice.
I think where I get my context is the blue. Like, whenever I see blue, I instantly see, like, think cold, like blue, cold. I'll instantly go there. And there's not very many scenarios where a blue will seem warm. It has to be surrounded by an extreme amount of another intense color, or it has to be closer to like a bright cyan or something. But then it starts touching into green.
I have
I am a fan of Blorm.
Blorm, warm blue. Interesting.
I have seen. Go ahead.
Flutter guy, go. I choose. Flutter guy, go.
Okay, I have seen a piece which I really, really liked, but it was super expensive. It was a painting of a sailboat, and it was a very dark blue, but I think that they had like mixed in some pinks with the blue, and so it was a very, very warm feeling blue. And I think that's like one of the very few times that I've seen a blue that I could seriously consider warm. And it was just interesting.
The being from Australia
almost Blorm even.
Kind of makes sense, because when I see blue, I immediately think warm because of sky. But in paintings, warm blue is cold. But in this one, I think what makes me think warm mainly is the fact that she looks happy. She is very pleased with herself. And if she was sitting on a thing of ice, I don't think she'd be that happy.
I don't know. Maybe she is kind of known for being an ice queen. So
maybe she had really, really hot feet.
She just got cooled down. So anyhow, moving on from the topic of hot and cold and warm and cool, I really like the way that Mianyo has done the reflective lighting in this piece, especially on Rarity. Because you can see like the
reflective lighting.
Yeah,
is that reflective lighting? What's the term for that? A burned science man.
That is reflective lighting.
Is it
reflective lighting? Ambient lighting? You can call it whatever you want.
Maybe I just thought of a different term.
I think there is another term for it, but it's the concept that there is light hitting something, reflecting off of that, and then hitting something else. So in this case, there's light either hitting the diamonds or emanating from the diamonds and then hitting Rarity.
Yeah.
So
just a second. Let me look up Fong's reflection model.
It's not a specific type, I think, in Fong's reflection model, because you got specular and you've got ambient,
diffuse and ambient.
Yeah, but it is reflective lighting. But just basically means that there's light of a certain color that's reflecting off of some object and coming back to hit you in the eye. So in this piece, there's this blue light that's reflecting from the diamonds on Rarity in these key locations, and it's really, really well done. It kind of plops her right into the piece. Also, I would like to imagine that she's kind of sitting in a cave, because if you look at the background, there's kind of this crack in it, and the texture just gives me this big feeling of like rocks and stuff. So that could be where the light is kind of hitting from the diamonds. I don't know. I like how the mains, or her mane and her tail are done, because they are very similar colors to the background, and they do kind of blend in, but there is kind of just this line work that kind of separates them out, and I don't know, it's interesting. You don't see it that often, but
it works really well with Rarity for the different colors, because the top of her mane is a warm purple, but the bottom of her mane, the shiny part, is a cool purple, so that actually worked really well with that for this piece.
Yeah. Cool. All right, we're going to move on to our last piece, which is called Rarity, amazing title, by Flea Bites. And once again, Silver, would you like to describe what you see in this piece?
Oh, this is one of my favorite pieces for Rarity. I really like the angle that we're getting, like the angle / pose that we're getting from, like, it's almost top down, but not quite. So you see a lot of really unique angles on her body. And it's really well done. I really like the individual strands in the hair and like the cool color of her body in contrast to like the warm pink swath of fabric that she's working with and stuff like that.
Yeah, I really like the, I mean, it almost has this abstract kind of feel to it, but if you look at it closer, it's not really an abstract kind of feel, or it's not really an abstract piece just because, like, it's a different angle that you wouldn't normally see, and she's kind of curved, but that's just her pose and stuff, and...
Well, there's a bit of wibbity wobbity in there.
Yeah, okay, there's a little
Wibbly
bit
wobbly,
of something.
spiny, whiny.
I hate you for
She looks a
turning
little
that
bit like
into that.
plasticine.
Yeah, a little bit.
Also, I like how Fleabase has made her be sitting on that chair.
Yeah, I know. Very Lyra-esque.
There is a bit of like abstractness, like in how things look, you know, off. But like abstract is the concept of stepping away from something, where something no longer becomes what it is, and it becomes like something else, or what it is to like its essence or like core. So things become simplified. So like that isn't happening with this piece. So I would hesitate to call it abstract, but a word I really like using is kind of like expressionist. And I feel like that's really the defining term for this piece. Is expressionistic. Like there are things going on with these crazy organic lines that lead to like feelings or expression. And I really, really like this piece, and I'm glad we could feature it. Because there's like awesome things going on with like the line work, the organicness, how everything's flowing. And then also like the view, like technically what we see is absolutely impossible. Like there's not even arguing it. Like her body, like way like it bends, and the way her body's contortioned is like completely impossible. And like there's no way that would work. There's a bunch of things like on the same planes. Like technically she'd be sitting under the table, but like the table edge and like her like cutie mark and like flank and like chair, like they look like they're on the same plane. And there's awesome, like just so many cool things going on. Like how do I point out one of these? Like look at the way like her spine kind of like bends and then warps around, and how she's kind of like sitting like halfway off her chair. Like there's no way that a pony body would ever bend or like warp that way. But it's not about like if it could happen. It's about how it, I don't know, looks, and like the feeling of it and what it does for everything. I don't know.
I
You know
just
what I'm
got
trying
a
to say
great
here?
mental image of a horse sitting on a computer chair with the legs sticking straight out, and the face just like looking at the camera going, well, now what? I just laughed silently, and I got Silver looking at me like, the heck are you laughing at?
Of course, like we were talking about all this like abstractness and expressionistic stuff, and I immediately scroll down to the comments, and one of the first comments I see is, I love the way that you drew her so anatomically correct. And it was like, well, I guess that's one way to interpret it. I guess that's true.
Yeah, so I mean, she
But
has
I don't
horse
know.
legs, kind of.
Yeah, kind of.
But wait. Who's? You mean front legs?
Yeah.
Kind of.
Okay, because I was looking at the back legs, and I was like, where are you seeing legs?
Yeah.
Horses have
I-
four
I-
legs.
I do love how...
Why was the horse not
Thank you.
invited? Why couldn't the horse dance? He had 2 left feet.
Well, that was like, that joke was like falling down the stairs as it came out of your mouth.
I can't ruin that joke. But in this piece, hair, so much hair.
Yeah, I do love the flowiness of the piece, from the hair to the cloth to even her body kind of has the flowy nature just because of how contorted it is. I don't know, it gives it a very expressionistic feel, I guess, to kind of quote Burned on that. I really like it. And then to contrast the flowiness, you get the table, which is these straight lines, very strict and rigid.
And it goes off into infinity because,
Yeah.
you know, the entire piece kind of does that, where you have this outer frame where it's this square, right? Because the piece is a box on DeviantArt. But on the inside, you have this kind of less than square fade out along like the bottom and all parts of the piece, right? A good like I don't know. I can't really say inch because it's all relative to how zoomed in you are. but it's there's a portion of the piece that's just kind of white, like a border.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was expecting this to be traditional, but it's not. It looks really, really like colored pencil.
Yeah. I would imagine, to kind of go off your point, Rainbow Plasma, that this would look really cool as like a kind of a frameless piece of art, where it's basically just Rarity and, well, all the drawn bits in, and
Because it creates its own frame.
yeah, because it's all very compacted. There's no kind of white space in between, Rarity, the cloth, the table, and stuff like that. It's, yeah.
Something that would be cool
Well,
for
she is
DeviantArt
white
to
space.
introduce would be to add a little button that changes the color of the webpage. That would be a good thing to add. You listening, DeviantArt?
DeviantArt, please.
Did you say more llamas? We can give you more llamas.
All of the llamas.
More badges.
Hats. We need hats.
Actually, I might
Quick,
suggest
get
that.
more people who can make bases.
So, I do like the whole expressionistic description of this piece, and in kind of more on the emotional side, because it does kind of look like, Rarity is extremely tired. She's worn out from work and stuff like that, and you kind of get this feel from this piece that it's like, speaking on a more emotional level, obviously, than a more realistic level, but it kind of gives off that vibe from her just because of her pose and I guess the flowiness of it and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Is nobody
Also
going to mention
sideways
Opal,
Opal.
just standing there staring straight up?
I was just about to.
We totally just talked over each other about the same exact thing.
I'm sorry.
Sideways kitty.
Yeah.
See, this is how
Silver,
artists
tell us
work.
more
They
about
have
the
a
sideways
cat curled
kitty.
up at their feet. Because cats always need to be
Silver.
involved in everything.
Silver, tell us more about the sideways kitty.
I like the kid. It's really adorable. I think it brings a bit more emotion to it, because it kind of just implies that she's at home doing what's comfortable for her. She's doing what she wants to do, and it's obvious because her cat's just sitting there and watching. Like, there's no big deal. This is not a special part of her day. This is not capturing an epic moment. It's just capturing one little scene in her life, and I think that the cat kind of helps to show that.
The title of the piece is Rarity, and then in the description it says an artist at work. So that's kind of your context behind it.
Yeah. I gotta say, in this piece, Opal actually looks kind.
What?
It's got angry
you
brows.
No, those are I'm very comfortable and content cat face.
Yeah.
Sleeping under your tail. Okay.
That's exactly what that is. Have you ever had a cat? That is the content cat face.
No, I haven't had a cat.
Yeah.
I kind of like
One last-
the juxtaposition between real and not so real in this, because you got the sewing machine, and you got the computer chair, and then you got the plastic horse.
I like how you said real and not so real, but it sounded like surreal. And I do get an extreme surrealistic feeling from this. Surreal being, dreamlike, not what you would see in everyday, not
Dream's a really good
realistic,
word for it.
I actually kind of get that vibe, because if you think about some of the more famous surrealist pieces, there's a lot of flowy nature to it, like the Salvador Dali with the clocks, the melting time piece. And this piece also has a kind of a flowy nature to it. Definitely gives off a surrealistic vibe. But I just really wanted to talk about the main really quickly. I love how it's done, how it's very flowy, how it's basically just made up of this line work that, it's just line after line after line after line. And there's also these kind of highlights in it, and there's shading in it and stuff like that. And I don't know, I really, really like how it was done.
And there's not really a whole sense of sense to it. It's just mess, but it's organized mess.
It looks like water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even ink.
Take a little time to actually go to this piece in the artist gallery and look at this piece in a better resolution, and look at the hair and how it just flows into itself. It is really, really cool.
Yep. All right, so that was it. Man, end of the main six. Whew. We did it, guys.
We did it. I did it, Mom. Are you proud?
I hope you guys
Meow.
I hope you guys enjoyed our main six series. We may do one again before our 200th episode. You never know.
No, that's not happening.
Can we do an alternate Man 6 with Trixie and Zakora?
This was a logistic nightmare.
Oh, I know. But it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. I hope our guests had a lot of fun, and I hope you guys had a lot of fun and enjoyed it. So
are you having fun?
I'm having fun. This is great. I'm honored to be here.
Woo! Yay!
Yay.
Sweet.
All right. So,
Speaking of silver,
Atmos Park.
Do you have a question for
I do have a
us?
question from Silver. Who would like to ask?
Yay! Finally.
I have a question. I sent this question to your inbox because I wanted to hear what you had to say. Which element of harmony is most important to you in a friend?
Ted, what do
Can
you
we
think?
pull up a list of what the elements are? Elements of harmony. I forget. Okay, I'm a bad person.
Laughter,
Wow.
loyalty, magic,
You-
kindness, generosity, honesty.
Magic, definitely magic.
I was gonna say clearly.
If my friends can make me fly, then screw the rest of them.
I had always considered magic to be the one that ties everybody else together. If
Okay,
you were
so
thinking
you're
like a
gonna-
real
it's
life kind of
just-
situation. That's the guy
Yeah,
who
just
just
I can
holds
see that.
everybody else together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I guess I will go first. I like loyalty. I think. I don't know. I just like if I like it if someone is down, like, or if I'm down or feeling kind of depressed or whatever, I would like it for a friend to be there to cheer me up no matter what mood I'm in or whatever, just to always be there and stuff. So I think that, is probably mine. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not surprising that Flutter Guy and I have the same answer, but I would say loyalty as well. I don't know. I mean, that's just, to me, that's just like part of being a friend is sticking by someone else, through thick and thin, that kind of thing. And to me, that's loyalty, in a nutshell. Sticking with someone through tough times and through good times, and you do so because you're your friend, and you do so because you know that if the situation was reversed, that they would do it for you, or at least you'd hope so. So I'd look for loyalty in friends, because that way, if the situations were reversed, then yeah.
Yeah.
I can't decide between honesty and laughter. I'm trying to I can't decide between them. Like, yes, they're all important in a friend, but I figure if something happens, like, nobody is perfect, like, nobody's nothing. If
Excuse me?
you do something that breaks one of the other elements, like, if you're one day not loyal, but you are really, really, like, torn up about it, and then you're honest about it to me, I can forgive that. But if you start lying to me, then there's a problem. Also laughter, because giggles.
Yeah.
See, look, it made Flutter Guy laugh. It works. Also Silver. So I can't decide between the two of them.
That's fine.
Who
Who next?
Burned.
Burned.
Me? Okay. For me, I guess it would my most important one I would hold at like the top of the friend tree. It would like most likely be loyalty. I think one of the coolest compliments I ever got was someone called me like extremely loyal, like loyal till I die. And I don't know, I guess that felt nice to know that like in a group of friends, like I was like the most loyal person ever. And anyway, so like I kind of hold that one personally. But I also keep looking at magic, and I feel like that's also an important one in the context Silver gave, like how Twilight brings everyone together, and like she is the one that has brought all of these main six, like in like as this group of friends. And I mean like all of my group of friends were brought together by like a certain person or someone bringing together friends. So like in high school, like our Twilight, so to speak, was my friend Nick. I hope he hears this, but my friend Nick Haynes, like he was the guy who brought all of my entire group of friends at high school together and like kept us together, and like was the entire cause of my social life at all in high school. So like I don't know, I owe him a lot for that, and like I don't know, yeah. So like having someone to bind a group of friends or something to bring everyone together is also extremely important, because there's like just like a one-on-one friend like kind of interactions, and like the other 5 are extremely important. But bringing like multiple people together, I also feel like is an extremely positive trait. Yeah.
I like it.
Am I the Twilight of this group?
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like just from an organizational point, not even from like the element of harmony point of view. Am I the one who's organized? Oh yeah, I am.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm kindness. Yeah.
Because like I wouldn't have a lot of friends if it wasn't for like this Twilight concept for like other people
I think
bringing
it's really
group of friends together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm totally the Pinkie Pie
Silver.
because I make you guys face soup all the time.
Yeah. It's true.
Silver, what about you? You asked the question, so now.
Yeah, we're doing
We're
this
gonna
out
turn
of
it back
order,
on
by
you.
the way. Sorry.
Inspiration. No. That was a terrible joke that like 3 people will get. I want to say laughter, but in the same way, I'm usually the one who embodies laughter. I laugh all the time. I've been laughing this whole podcast. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to keep editing it out. So
Nope.
like I consider laughter to be very important, but I'm also the one who always brings the laughter. I laugh at everything all the time. So,
Can confirm.
I think I'm gonna go with honesty, because I think that no matter how bad things get, and no matter how much somebody bothers me or annoys me or does something that makes me mad, if they're honest about it in the end, and I can tell that their motivations are pure, I can forgive them. And I think that's how I feel about that.
Once again, I get the feeling we're talking about me.
Also, me and Silver didn't rehearse this, by the way.
Yeah, no, we picked the same ones, even though, yeah, we're perfect for each other. Ha!
I like to think Flutterguy's element is kindness.
I wanted to pick kindness because I'm a person who gets flustered very easily and is very nervous. So having somebody who is kind to be around is really helpful for me because I don't deal well with mean people.
Damn it, that was a close third for me.
It's funny because I really like kindness, but I have some friends, like really good friends, like one of my best friends ever, Chad, I'm gonna call him out. He's not the embodiment of kindness. Dude's a jerk, but I love him and he knows it. So
Yeah. So thank you for the question, Silver. That was
You're welcome.
very insightful.
Someone finally prepped a question.
Yeah.
It only
A
took
long,
6 weeks.
long time ago too.
Yeah, I sent that one a while ago. I try to
Yeah,
send you guys
still
questions
counts.
that I think will give you a good discussion instead of silly things all the time.
So,
We like silly things too.
do you want to attempt our plugs, Silver?
Oh yeah, I could do that. Let me think.
Yay.
You can send your
can
questions.
you do it as Morgan Freeman?
I can't do it as Morgan
I'm
Freeman. I
just
barely
kidding.
know what
Go
he
ahead.
sounds like. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
You can send in questions and other fan art and other stuff at Cutie Art Crusaders at Gmail. And we have a DeviantArt, Cutie Art Crusaders at DeviantArt.com. And Twitter, which I don't know why I said we. We have Twitter, which is Cutie Art Crusade with no S because that's, I think, the character limit. And
Yeah.
I want to say the Tumblr, but that's not up yet. There's one more. What's the other one?
Everyone
Everyone always
forgets.
forgets.
Facebook, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is Cutie Art Crusaders.
Cutie Art Crusaders, yeah.
Yay!
So
Plugs.
go there and do them.
Yeah. And
Hey.
we probably will have another avenue of social media in the future, aka next
I
week.
wonder which one it was. Maybe it was the one that was mentioned again.
Match.com.
This week.
Match.com.
Oh my goodness.
You can
Craigslist.
get matched with us and go on a date with
I'm
us.
fairly certain there's not a Match.com name.
No.
For
that
Cutie Art
you know
Crusaders.
of. Some of us
yeah.
like to use our horse fame.
Or famousness.
Horse famousness.
All right. So stay tuned for after this episode for our season recap spoiler cast thing. It's not really a spoiler cast because all of the episodes have been out for more than 2 weeks. So
Just a cast.
yeah, if you haven't seen the episodes, go watch them because they're awesome.
Yeah.
And then next week is our 100th episode. So come and watch that because it's gonna be awesome.
Send in stuff.
Yeah, send in.
You got 2 days from now to do it.
Tell me I'm pretty.
Has anybody here actually like gone through and looked at how many we've gotten?
We've gotten quite a few.
got
Yes.
we've got 6 or 7 at the moment.
So it's not going to be like, we just sit there with one and be like, "Yay,
I
thanks."
was just,
Yeah, no.
I was a bit worried. Like, I do want people to send it in, and I'd much rather have too many than too little. But I also kind of wanted to like spend a minute at least on each one. So I was afraid that we would get like way too many, and it's like, well, we're just gonna have to play all of these, and it becomes an episode where none of us talk.
We've got seven. We've got 7 at the moment.
Okay, cool. But you guys should still send them in. That's a really good point. We've got 7. So do you want to be the 8th or the 9th or the 10th? Then guess what? If we only have 10, it's guaranteed that you're going to be on the show.
Yeah.
So, watch, we're gonna get like 15 on the last day.
Oh, I know. That's
Yeah.
always how it is.
But again, 2 days from now.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, send in your stuff.
Yeah, Friday, May the 30th is the last day, and don't send it in late then because we're going to be recording the podcast on that day. So if you send it after we record, we're not going to put it in.
Obviously,
here.
yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that is everything for this week. I feel like everybody has like stepped up a little bit this week because last week I felt like I was doing all the talking, and this week I don't think I talked that much at all.
Well, because you were
So-
tripping over your words in the beginning, so we kind of filled in.
Okay. I have an each spediment. Okay.
On that
but-
note,
Yeah.
We have to plug my friend here.
yes.
Okay. Look, we'll spend a couple minutes plugging Silver, and then we'll wrap up. Okay. So Silver, where can we find you?
I don't know. You can find me on DeviantArt. Silver Rain Clouds at deviantart.com. I do vectors and stuff. It's not very exciting.
She does
Cool.
pretty vectors.
Yeah, they're awesome.
I also just got a Tumblr, which is rainypony.tumblr.com, but I'm probably not going to put a whole lot on there, so don't get too excited.
It's too late. I am like jumping around.
Did we mention that Silver did like our icons for like
Oh, yeah.
Christmas and like Halloween and stuff like
We
that?
did a
And
we did a
80s
little
night.
bit.
And
at the
80s
beginning.
night.
Yeah, and 80s night too.
Yeah, thank you for that again. That was awesome.
She did those, so if you're wondering the connection there, she also did those.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
I
can
got.
go
I have a whole
favorite
bunch of
them
fan
on
art
her
for you guys
DeviantArt.
in my all
Yeah.
my arts.
Yeah, whenever
When
you
we're-
like
when
look
we're
at
like-
anything made about us in the suggestions, there's always something by Silver here.
That's true.
Yeah, so if we're ever feeling really, really lazy but we want extra art assets, we always like mooch up to her and be like, Silver, can you make us some things in like 2 days? Because we always procrastinate, and she goes, fine.
And you never
She's
tell me
awesome.
exactly what you want, so I just have to guess.
Just make
That's
it
part
cute.
of the fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, just make it cute. That's our only requirement, is make it cute.
You gave me
Good,
a
I'm
hat
good at
once,
that.
top notch, 10 out of 10.
Didn't
Would beg
she
for
make you
art
like
again.
ZZ Top?
No,
No,
it
he was
was
Slash.
Slash Pony. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Mm.
All right, well, that is everything for this week. Thank you, Silver, for coming on. We had a blizzity blast.
A what?
And a blizzity blast. You know,
Yeah.
it's like a blast, but more
Blizzity.
blastacular.
I'm guessing that's a Canadian thing.
All
It's
right, well,
it's a Rick thing.
thank you, everyone, for watching. Whether or not you're on the live stream or on the YouTube, Burned loves you all the same.
All the same.
I'm kind of indifferent right now.
I love you too.
You know, I don't want to commit right now. It's kind of have I made this joke before?
Yeah,
Probably.
you have.
Probably.
I'm getting old. You'll have to forgive me.
No one here will ever love you as much as I will, so it's okay. So just send me all of your love mail.
For a second there, I thought you were like talking to me, and I was like, burned.
Burned in our fans forever 1000years.com.
We're gonna have to register that now. All right, enough of this. All right, so my name is Rainbow Plasma.
I'm Burned 01.
I'm Flutter Guy 317.
Atmos Spark.
And Silver Rain Butts.
Yay!
Yay.
We'll see you guys next week, or for our spoiler cast right after this.
Bye.
I didn't do that.
Hey, Burned, I bet you're really curious about why there's audio after everyone else's, and I just wanted to say something sensual so it would make you feel weird because you probably had your audio up really loud. So I hope you enjoyed this little section.
Hello and welcome to the final spoiler cast done by the Cutie Art Crusaders for Season 4 of My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. My name is Flutterguy317, and today I am joined by Rainbow Plasma,
Hello.
Burn01,
Hello!
and Atmospark.
Hello.
Gang's all here. This spoiler cast is going to be a recap of the entire season, Season 4, as a whole. Not really a recap, but just kind of a general what we thought about the season and what we liked about it, what we didn't like about it.
Also, it's going to be 30 minutes, so
Yeah.
get your butts comfy.
It
We're
is
going to
true.
tell you how much we liked horses this season.
I liked horses. Okay, spoiler cast done.
Yay!
Wrap.
All right, let's wrap
Go.
it up, guys. Woo. No, I guess I'll start. I really, really, really enjoyed this season. That is 3 reallys.
You don't say. 3 whole release.
I
Wow.
know, right?
I think this was the best season so far.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, I like new stuff a lot. I'm not a huge nostalgia kind of guy, so I always like new stuff. Last season it was a bit hard to tell because while season 3 was really awesome, it was also half the length of season 2, so it was like but this one, full season length, awesome. It's my favorite so far.
Yep. I can agree with that. Like, this season constantly impressed me with, like, things from animation to, like, the storytelling and stuff. And, like, I loved the whole overarching plot that I missed so much from season 1. So, like, this season made me really, really happy. And I had a great time, too.
Yeah, like an actual overarching plot.
Yeah. Yeah. Atmospark? General feeling of it?
I did enjoy it. Some not as much as others, but I mean, I guess that's standard for pretty much everything. Some of them I really, really liked. There was a fair bit of character development this season, which was good. And yeah, I think mostly it was pretty well done.
Yeah. It's tough to compare it to last season because last season was only 13 episodes long, and I think that it showed quite a bit in some of the episodes in particular, like with the pacing and the whole timing and stuff like that. And I don't know if that was just the stories of the individual episodes or if it was just because we had such a short season that it felt kind of rushed. But with this season, we had the full 26 episodes, and each of the episodes, I feel the pacing was really, really well done.
Yeah. I felt like a consistent theme in our spoiler casts for season 3 was this was great, but it also felt kind of rushed.
Yeah.
And I don't remember saying that ever once for season 4. Maybe once or twice.
I think it was only once or twice in a specific episode, but it was because that specific episode we were talking about, like, tried to do a lot at once. You remember? I believe one where I said, like, this feels rushed to myself was like, gosh, I can't remember which episode. I was like, oh yeah, I know that one, but then I forgot. But I remember there was like one episode where it was like, yeah, this feels really rushed.
Yeah. But like it was a consistent thing in season 3 though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where it was only like one episode for me, I felt this season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
So maybe they've gotten better at like writing out episodes that feel more like complete than trying to do crazy amount in the episodes like they might have done in season 3.
Well, yeah, I feel like in season 3, they kind of pushed themselves to get more and more content into those 13 episodes. Whereas with season 4, they didn't necessarily have to do that. They had 26 episodes. And it's kind of difficult to say because, like, each of the episodes in season 3 did have its own kind of storyline and theme and stuff like that. And same with season 4. And it's not like there were multiple parters except for the opener and the finale.
Right.
But at the same time, I don't know, maybe some of the ideas that were thrown out there just like were different because of the additional episodes that we had.
I felt like
So I had a couple of. Oh no, go ahead, please, because I want to start moving on to different sections. So if you still want to talk about the season as a whole, then please go ahead.
okay, yeah, I just wanted to say it felt like this season, because it was twice as long as the last one, they had more room to do just like fluff episodes where it's just nothing really happens. There's no real character development. It's just a bit of a fun episode. Whereas in season 3, they didn't really have so much opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
Everything was a big deal.
Yeah. Something that we kind of talked about a little bit is that there were quite a few new writers in this season. And they all did a fantastic job at, writing out a well-paced episode that was fun and entertaining and stuff like that. So, congrats to you guys. Awesome job.
If you ever listen to this,
Yeah.
writers who we really appreciate, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think no. So, anyways, now that we've talked about general season stuff, I wanted to do a couple of fun things that I know that the fans might want to hear from us. So why don't we start with favorite episode from this season and just talk a little bit about why.
My God.
It's a good thing we just brought up the list of them, so take a look through them. I can probably start off, so you guys have some time to think. Mm-hmm. I really, really enjoyed Castlemania. It came out on my birthday, so it was a great birthday present because it was just... I don't know how to describe it, but every single character was characterized perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I enjoyed everyone's contribution to the story. It was very even. They split off into pairs, and that was fun. It managed to talk a little bit about the story. It was the first, like, regular episode after the opener, and it started the season off really, really well because I just enjoyed the characterization of all of them. There was no character that was hung out to dry or didn't have like any depth. The person with the least amount of depth was Pinky, I guess, but she had a lot of, she was part of the whole like story all along. I just overall it was a great episode.
So, way to steal mine.
Yeah, I knew I'd be stealing yours,
Yeah.
but I just tried to check to be like, can I take any others? Because I know what you're going to say, but no, that's just no.
Well, I'm going to also say Castlemania for the exact same reasons as Rainbow Plasma said. I think it was well-paced. I love the whole throwbacks to, like, these kind of tropes that you saw.
Yep.
And it happened throughout the season with different episodes and stuff. But yeah, like, there was Scooby-Doo throwbacks, and the name itself, Castlemania, is a throwback to the video game Castlevania. So...
Yeah.
I don't know. I really enjoyed those little things.
Oh! If I may change, I'm not going to change my favorite because I still think Castlevania is better. But to give another one to throw out there because I took yours, I really, really, really enjoyed testing 1, 2, 3. The one where Twilight helps Rainbow Dash pass the Wonderbolt's test.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was really, really, really good, and it was probably one of the best lessons the show has ever taught.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
So I like testing 1, 2, 3 as well. It's a very close second.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't want us to start going into like top fives here. I just wanted to give an alternative here. You guys managed to think of something?
I personally, I mean, it's, I don't know what I'm saying. Words. It's not purely because she's my favorite, but I do like both of the Pinkie Pie centric episodes this season. The which one was it? The Pinkie Pride and Maud Pie, which I guess is kind of Pinkie centric.
What about Pinkie Apple Pie?
Oh yeah, that one too. But no, I can't decide between Pinkie Pie or Maud Pie which one I like more. They both like Pinkie Pride because it was just so Pinkie Pie. Plus, the lesson in that one was pretty good as well. Maud Pie because it was just a great episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And Weird Al being in there too, so good.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was in that too, wasn't he?
Got the old pink blinders on, huh?
Always.
Yeah. Burn.
Did
you have
a favorite?
Favorite?
Well,
particular.
it's weird for me because like My Little Pony is something that I just kind of enjoy as it comes, I guess. Does that make sense? Where it's something that I just look forward to sit down and enjoy a little bit and kind of watch for what it is. It's so like I can't think off the top of my head if I had like that episode stood out to me above all others. And like as a favorite or something. So like I don't know. I can't really pick a favorite because there isn't one that like really stood out to me. I'd have to watch the whole season over again to like actually find an episode that kind of hit me because it is something I kind of just, I don't know, simply enjoy. But I would say if I were to pick a favorite, I would definitely pick the finale, the Twilight's Kingdom. Just for the sheer epicness of it. I felt like that had like the largest effect on me. Everything coming together and finally happening, like all the keys, like because I enjoyed every single key episode. I thought that like was a good, I don't know, plot device, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Yeah, it really
I
tied
just-
everything together. And that was a fantastic way to end the whole overarching storyline throughout the season. So,
Right.
yeah, it was fantastic. Yeah, I mean,
So, yeah.
it was a fantastic season. And like Byrne said, like, we like to watch MLP just, for fun for a lot of it. And we kind of throw these spoiler casts together just, because we can, I guess. But we all enjoyed basically every single episode. And it is tough to pick favorites, but like there are certain things that stick out for us in certain episodes. And I don't know, I really like certain characterizations throughout the entire season and character development and plot and stuff like that. So, yeah.
So, another question.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a prompt to remind us a little bit about these seasons is kind of what I'm doing here.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys scroll down on the page that we're all looking at, that the viewers have no idea, it's the Wikipedia page for MLP Season 4.
Yeah.
There's a list of songs.
Ah, yes.
Did you guys have a favorite song? And if so, which one do you think was your favorite? / just talk about ones that you thought were interesting.
Okay. Do you want to go first?
No.
Okay.
he'll go last this time.
All right.
We'll do reverse. So, Byrne, you go first.
All right.
Ooh.
So, like, I feel like this one's really easy for me. Like, I really, really loved Apples to the Core. I don't know. That song just hit me, and it was just, gosh, adorable. Just, like, the whole, I don't know, like, melody and each of the characters, like, taking their part and singing, like, each part of the song. And I listened to, I believe it was Sim Gretna's remix of it a lot. So, like, I have it in my head. And then a close second for me was Hardest, Strongest Horses. That was cute as well.
Yeah.
I think it's probably quicker if I say the ones that I didn't like as much as the other ones.
Okay.
So, actually, no, I'll go down the list. I've got the list here. Hearts the Strongest Horses, Bats, Apples to the Core, the Discord song, the Glass of Water song, all the ones from Pinky Pride, the ones from Philly Vanilli. Yeah, those are my favorites. All of them. There's a thing on YouTube, a video on YouTube of just like all the all the songs from like every season, just like in one video, and I haven't listened to the second half of that video on repeat for a while.
Yeah.
The songs are fantastic.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm gonna have to say I really enjoy Heart's Strongest Horses, and probably either Make-A-Wish from Pinky Pride or the songs from Philly Vanilli. I guess you can kind of combine them because they do combine in the end a little bit.
Right. Yeah, I'm actually surprised to see that there's two.
Mm-hmm.
Because I the way that I think of it is that they're just one song.
Yeah. But I really enjoy the originals, and I've also found some amazing remixes of Heart's Strongest Horses and Make-A-Wish, which are absolutely fantastic.
Which one is the Make-A-Wish song?
Make-A-Wish, it's your birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Make-A-Wish, it's your birthday party. That one.
Yeah. I don't know, something like, I don't like really, really overly produced songs, but I like kind of like well-produced songs, like Make-A-Wish, like those kind of electronic songs.
It was interesting because that song felt really poppy for me, almost like too poppy.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing for the wedding ending of the wedding song, you know what I mean?
Right. It feels like it could be a
But-
song on the radio.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was like really happy, super Disney, and it was a little almost too over the top for me. But then when I hear remixes of them and like reversions of them, then they start like holding like a really strong place in my heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was the same thing for Apples to the Core. So
Yeah.
So I would say that there's like
there's two. I mean, the thing about this is it's so hard for me because like I love like every single one. Like Atmospheric was saying, as Atmospheric was saying, it'd be easier to list the ones I don't like because the rest I love. But there's a couple that stood out to me for reasons, not because I think that they're better than the rest, but because they had really interesting stuff in them. I really, really enjoyed the Philly Vanilli stuff, the Find the Music in You song, which I'm considering both those songs as one song because it's silly to consider them as more than one. I really enjoyed that one. And I really enjoyed the player part one from Twilight's Kingdom, specifically the princess part of it. It's certain harmonies really, really get to me. And the Find the Music in You had a really interesting one. And then the player part one had a really intense one. So those ones really stood out to me. Also, Cadence was singing in the second one, so that one automatically wins.
Yeah. And you,
but like a lot of them were really like, I'm glad that someone brought up Glass of Water because like that was a super different song. And I think what we saw a lot in this season was a bunch of different songs. You know, we had Bats, which was a really cool style. Yeah. Then there was Generosity and Apples to the Core and Glass of Water. All those four were like really close to each other. And it was like, oh snap, these are all completely different sounding songs.
Yeah.
And they've kind of gone over like every single genre.
Yeah.
You know, and it's pretty crazy how they've all managed to make them all sound good.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, like just the range of styles that Daniel Ingram and the rest of the musicians on the show kind of can produce from the show. And it's interesting to see kind of what they take and match up with certain scenes and scenarios and stuff like that. Like the whole Glass of Water song, for instance. I mean, it's Discord's only song. Yeah, it's Discord's only song. And the whole like style of it, the stylistic, like the poetic nature of it really fits with Discord. And it was, I don't know, it's just really cool how they can take these characters or these scenarios or these situations and match up a certain style of music with what's going on.
Yeah. What is,
and
I
it
mean,
really,
I wish I knew enough about music to actually define that genre. It's a great song.
Yeah, I don't even know what it would be called. I think it's definitely poetic. It's in some sense.
It's a genre of music that's very common in theater productions.
Yeah, it did feel like a Broadway type song.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of Broadway in its use. It's very. It can only be used in the context of like an already progressing story, which obviously MLP is, right? So
yeah,
it's not really like a standalone thing. Whereas some of these other songs could be considered standalone, and they're just kind of in there because it's fun to have a song, you know?
Yeah.
Showtimey.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's not Showtime, but like it's a good comparison word. So it's a close kind of thing. Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to bring up the whole overarching storyline with the keys and also with the journal.
I'm just gonna bask in my glory for a second here.
You
shut
would.
your mouth.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing though, because like I'm never right. I'm the worst at predictions. So this is just the one time that I will ever have it, and yeah. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't remember, because it's already been 2 weeks since the finale, 3 weeks since the finale. Gosh.
Whatever.
Basically, there's the whole journal plot line where they, instead of writing letters to Celestia, they just write stuff down in the journal, and they pick that up in Castlemania because apparently the princesses, Celestia and Luna, used to write in their own journal. And then they kind of get keys along the way from other ponies.
Unknowingly.
Yeah, unknowingly. From other ponies who they've kind of had an influence on in a big way. And they all kind of culminate together. And it's interesting. I really enjoyed how that was brought up in the finale. Because Discord kind of showed Twilight the book and had bookmarked all of the places in the journal where they had received the keys, or at least where he thought they had received the keys, which was correct. And I thought it was an interesting way to tie the whole thing together. Just that one kind of scene where, you know, she's going through the journal and stuff. Because the two weren't really connected before that.
Yeah, I would agree. I never really thought about the journal pointing to the keys quite as kind of like a plot device. So it was a really cool kind of way to get them to not just, you know, it's hard for them to not just like one day wake up and realize, oh right, these are our keys.
Yeah.
I like the way that they combine the journal to think about it, and then Pinkie Pie is just like, let's just throw it out there and see what happens.
Yeah.
I thought it was really good, because otherwise they would just kind of sit around and be like, well, this is dumb.
Yeah.
So there was a combination of those two things that kind of took this smart idea of making the keys other objects and made it all kind of viable within the story.
Yeah. I think that the writers definitely did a very good job of that. And it's interesting too, because we've seen them write in the journal for episodes without keys as well. So
Right, yeah. So they kind of used that as kind of like a central device, but it was in no way would we have ever thought this journal is super important to the plot. And they did one of those plot twist things where it was just like, oh my god, this is actually useful for something.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite as useful as it could have been.
yeah.
Like the journal could have been the keys or something like that. Or like not my prediction, but my suggestion that perhaps the journal could have been Twilight's key, but like it still had that kind of twist of like, ooh, it's actually more important to the plot than you think.
Yeah. So I mean, it was kind of interesting too, because the two objects, I guess, came in at different points. The two objects being the journal and the box, which requires the keys. Because the box we saw in the opener when they gave up the elements of harmony,
When did the journal start?
and the journal started in Castlemania.
Right.
yeah.
So they even separated them by episodes. I forgot about that, but yeah, no, that was really smart.
Mm-hmm.
That was really, really smart.
It was nice to have that kind of thing, recurring thing as well with the journal, because we've been kind of missing that with the letters to Celestia. Because with season 1, it was basically every single episode, and then season 2, it was on and off, and then season 3 just kind of died out completely. So I don't know.
Well, it makes the episodes end a lot less abruptly.
Yeah.
Also, interestingly, they've been releasing, like, it's not so much to do with the episode, but they've been, like, they've released and been putting out the rainbow-powered toys for a long time, like pretty much the whole season. They don't normally do it that way. They'll normally, have the thing on the show and then they'll release a toy for it later, whereas this time they had the rainbow power first, so everybody knew rainbow power was coming somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't.
There was rainbow power
It
in the
wasn't
box,
like
but-
Alicorn Twilight was being sold before it came out. you
Yeah.
know?
My headcanon, for lack of a better word, is that Hasbro's like marketing manager, like head guy, is just some complete hack who's just like has no clue what he's doing. And I just have this horrible mental image for this guy who's in charge of all like the marketing, because I'm sure there's something intensely creative that they could do or has been done before that they could see.
Yeah.
But they're just like, you know what? We want to sell like bright rainbow toys to girls. Yeah, they'll like that. Should we test market that to see if they actually like that? Nah, screw that. Just make rainbow toys, release the whole season.
Yeah.
Yeah, just do that.
and then you know like the show makers get this little note on their desk being like, by the way, there's these toys and you need to integrate them into the show.
Yeah.
And it's like, well,
Yeah.
Oh, 15 seconds in the finale.
All
That's all
right.
you're getting.
close enough. Close enough.
Brony.
Yeah.
So, one more thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to give equal and fair opportunity to talk about something that we thought might be an improvement in the future. So something that we looked at, whether or not that be like a scene, a character, blah, 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 whatever you want, an episode. Something that you were like, not too enthusiastic about and you think could have been done better. And just kind of talk about it and see maybe if there was a way to do it better. I'm going to skip this one because I wrote an entire journal about it.
Yeah, you
It
did.
was the Rainbow Falls episode. So you can go, basically, they could have done that a whole lot better. It was badly written. Nah, it's not even badly written, just a bad, whatever. I wrote about it, so I'll
So
give
go
it to
check
you
that
guys.
out.
Yeah.
DeviantArt. RainbowPlasma.com, 1,000 years.
Thanks for the plug, Burned. Here's your $10.
I guess.
Well,
I
go.
guess
You want to go?
Yeah, I'll start because mine's
All right.
very, very similar. I really enjoyed the entire season except for Rainbow Falls, the episode. I don't know. I feel like they could have done a lot of things better.
Which one was that again?
That was the one where Rainbow Dash faked that being sick to kind of get out of making the choice between flying with the Wonderbolts and her friends.
It was her key episode.
Yeah. I don't know. It just, there's a lot of things that they could have done better. I feel like they could have made her, like the whole resolution better and the whole conflict better, and just go read Rainbow Plasma's post.
Everything could be better. I wrote a pretty comprehensive thing on the day that it came out. So I even gave solutions. There were solutions, and they were obvious.
Yeah.
Anyways,
but that being said, like, I really enjoyed the rest of the season. So yeah,
I didn't even like hate that episode. It was just like, specifically that noise.
Mine sort of kind of ties in with these two. Rainbow Dash needs more character development, just like overall. She sort of chops and changes a lot between episodes, so they need to be more consistent with that. I think if they spent some time sort of deciding who she actually is and explaining that, or not so much explain, but like a little bit about her would be good. There was something else too. Stop shoving derpy in our faces. Just stop.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. If I may jump in there to interject, you were talking about Rainbow Dash needs more characterization in the episodes where she's like not featured, right? You need to make her flip-flop less.
Yeah.
I have a similar point to make about Pinkie Pie. I'm not the hugest Pinkie Pie fan, but I would like to see her more in, not necessarily serious roles, but like not just like the, haha, we need to make a fart joke, here's Pinkie Pie. You know, like, it needs to be, I don't know, it just, oftentimes she's just there because she can make a joke, whereas all the other characters feel like they're actually contributing. And she needs to contribute more, and I know she can contribute more.
Yeah.
So stop writing her so shallowly.
Well, I'll be really quick. It's interesting because I did go back and rewatch the Parasprites episode from season 1 recently, and she is kind of really wacky and like, everyone's like, oh, that's just Pinkie or whatever. But she did
she just grills the crap out of characters.
Yeah, but she did contribute to it. I think it was kind of a more meaningful and well done kind of character development for her. So
She has the potential to be serious / smart, and they just need to do it. Anyways, we'll give one more thing to Burned, and then we need to wrap up.
Yeah.
Pinkie's a double-edged sword for me because, like, I really like her goofy character, like, doing those comic relief things. And I really, really like when she just goes crazy and, like, grills the crap out of a character as if she doesn't, like, realize the horrible things she's saying, like when she just destroys Fluttershy. Like, I really like that to a certain point, but then they kind of reuse it, like, more than a couple times in the entire season.
yeah.
And it becomes like this thing where it's just okay for Pinkie Pie to be the most horrible individual ever because she's goofy, and it was like it's a trope. And I feel like that's not great character development, regardless if I do get a little bit of a kick out of it.
Yeah.
And same thing for Rainbow Dash. Like, when is she ever gonna grow up or develop? I mean, it's a fan favorite character. I still love her, but Christ.
That was one of my points, is that I brought up quotes from season 1, episode 1 that would have fit better in Rainbow Falls episode than some of her quotes.
The point that I was gonna make, my point for what I feel like they could do better for this season is, I feel like they could have had much better development for Spike himself. Because I like the comic relief, like, kid that Spike is supposed to be. I really liked him in season 1 because he was just that, that dorky little child, and he does, like, comic relief things. But he developed so little, and he was a horrible person in quite a few episodes. To where I feel like even going from a 3-year-old to a 5-year-old, you see improvement, and Spike's just like, I guess it's like he only grows up in exponents because he's a dragon and he lives for hundreds of years. I don't know, but God, that kid.
Well, we'll see what season 5 brings for us. So we do have to wrap up because we're running short on time. So thank you guys so much for watching our spoiler cast throughout season 4, and for sticking with the Cutie Art Crusaders, because we're kind of cool. art and stuff.
We'll be back next season.
Yes, with spoiler casts, but keep watching every week our normal art show. If you want to.
Yeah, please watch every week. We love you.
Please. All right, so thank you guys again for watching. My name is Flutterguy317.
I'm burned.
Atma Spark.
And we'll see you guys next season.
Next season.
Bye.
Oh, next week.
Later.
Yeah, that too.
Love you all the same.